Stay close to his word and remain no part of this world with love in every little thing we do. Show love as we spread the good news and feel the love of the brotherhood. Though we stand out as different in Jehovah, we are one.
Well, thank you for joining me today. Today we have Consuella Hopkins.
Accounting and tax service. Yes.
Okay. There we go. With all of what we have going on, I want you, because you have so much experience. I mean, you've been in the accounting field for 25 years, do I understand?
Yes, yes. In
Yeah.
business, yes, even longer. You count education and some of my first jobs. Yeah, but yeah, 25 years in my own business, have my own firm. Yeah.
That is an accomplishment.
Thank you, Linda.
It is. It's a real accomplishment. And I don't think I ever mentioned this to you. We've had a number of conversations, but I did go for accounting my first year in college.
I didn't know that.
I was so bored. I said, if y'all don't get me, and I knew that would be a good field to go in, but I'm just not one that could sit still long enough. Is that crazy or what?
No, it's not crazy, because that was one of my concerns. And if we had a little bit more time, I had to share the story with you of when I was accounting association in college. And I was the president. I was the president of County Association. Linda, they would come in, and I was like, okay, they're too boring. And I literally thought, I don't think I can do this. But I love numbers. I love the county. I just got it, But what I realized, thanks to my mother and a good old phone call back home, was that she reminded me that I wanted to run my own accounting firm. So if you wanted life and color and fun and get to know your clients, then that's what you do. I didn't have to do it the typical way. And hence, I believe and know for sure that's why we're still in business and thriving the way we are, because we like to give that personal touch, with also that professionalism to it that you just don't see in most accounting firms, where they're really boring to the point, and they look past what the client really, really needs is what I feel that we do so best.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what is most important. That was why the first question I have for you was, just at the top of my list, in a crisis situation like what we have.
Yeah.
One of the questions that we have is, how do you manage, financially? How do you manage in a situation like this when you are one of those that are impacted financially in a negative way? How do you manage? Because the bills don't go away, and usually they don't.
No, not at all. The bill's still coming in, and rent, mortgage, utilities. And I know there were some kind of concessions for them, but you still got to be mindful of your budget. You still got to be mindful. And the best way, what I've been coaching and talking to my clients about, is the fact that you want to look at your budget, and if you hadn't had one before, this is truly the best time to get a budget together and really look at what can we streamline on? Your credit card payments. If you got credit card, call and ask to get a lower your interest rate. Call and make sure of your utilities right now. If you're turning them off, you're not wasting, you're being very resourceful. Call and see what you can do about getting on a budget right now. You really want to make sure you can streamline all your income and all your expenses. Now, that's your expenses. Income-wise is what I'm really looking at. This is a great time for people to really look inside themselves and look at, what do I do best? What am I good at? What do people call me for? And see how you can monetize that. I'm big on entrepreneurship, so I'm always talk to individuals and looking at a way of how do you use your purpose and your passion, and what can you do to make money, not just break even, but even to flourish, right? Because that's really key right now. And a lot of people, getting an extra job may not be an option, but again, if it's really tight and think you may either get another job or look at what you can do within your own self, within your own community to be able to circulate some income.
Okay. And I like that because then that's attacking it from both ends, you
Both
know.
ends. Oh, yes.
Yeah. And honestly, I've never thought about the fact of calling creditors and asking them to lower the interest rate.
And you want to do it while it's good, right? Don't wait till you start getting behind. You know, while you've been paying on time, while your income's still coming in, or, you know, do it, be proactive. And I'm a very, very proactive kind of a gal. I'm always going to be teaching from a place of being proactive versus reacting, because reacting just costs us too much money and too much headache, you know. So just trying to be proactive, you know. So when you know that next month, oh, you know, it's getting to be tight, you know, and I know I hadn't been working, or the kids, you know, or my husband, or whoever, my significant other, roommate is not working. What are we going to do about this rent and these utilities and the you know, credit cards? So just think about those things.
Very good points, Consuela. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Linda, for having me. First and foremost, it's such a pleasure to be on here with you. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely, and the pleasure's mine, because I mean, these are things that personally I like to know, and then I have people that ask me questions. As a real estate broker, people will ask me, they'll roll over into the financial side, and
all the time.
I can tell them what I do, but to be honest, just last week, I think it was, I referred someone to you. I said, I am not an accountant. You know?
Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? I know my limitations, and it's not one of my hats that I try to wear.
And the beauty of it is, I was raised with real estate. My mother, for years, you know, worked for the for HUD, and so she bought properties and we fixed them up and all those things too. So now also being an investor and property manager, doing a lot of things in real estate, also with accounting, it really helps me to see both sides of it. You know, so when you called and reached out, I was very honored, you know, to be able to sit and talk with you for one, just to get to, you know, just to spend some time with you, Miss Linda. But then also, you know, because there is such a need for the knowledge of people's finances, and then real estate. Real estate is a wonderful, wonderful tool to change your finances, whether you're buying or whether you're selling.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. And you know, obviously I'm biased because that's what I do, you know, but I'm also realistic too. You know, today I was just going from one place to another, and I thought, you know, I've seen all these businesses that were closed.
Yes.
And a lot of those businesses that were closed are businesses that you can go to if you have some extra money, you know, or, you know, just, you know, like, for example, to eat out, you may go and eat out because you have some extra money, or you buy clothes because you have extra money, or, you know, things like that, they're not a necessity. But real estate is a necessity.
It's a necessity.
You have to have some place to live, you know. So
that's right. And you're seeing too that during this time, real estate is people are still buying, people are still selling. It's doing very well, you know, the market right now, you know, for sellers, you know, too. So, and I think also for buyers as well, you know, there's, you know, even talking with you before, we talking about even the market that's out there, the housing stock is pretty good, you know. So
I know they're just bidding all over each other. It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah. So that kind of takes us into the second question, which is, does it make sense to continue to invest? We know it makes sense to continue to invest in real estate. We just talked about that. But what other avenues or vehicles of investment would you encourage? And does that make sense right now?
Well, that's a very good question. And for me, investment, I'm going to just say yes, right? Because you do want to still make sure that you're investing if your budget and your cash flow allows it, right? You really need to still look at what your savings account looks like. What is your disposable income? That's what you're talking about, that discretionary or disposable income that a lot of these restaurants now are closing down. So, but if you still do have the disposable income or invest money to invest, I would say yes. Now the key is I would definitely sit down and would definitely want to have a consultation with someone to tell them, how and what that looks like, because you want to know your risk factor. Are you high risk, low risk? Very conservative as far as your investment, and then what type of income would you have to invest in, because it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. You want to make sure that you do. But again, real estate is a good thing to invest in right now, right? Stocks and bonds, it all depends on, exactly, mutual funds, where your tolerance is, your investment tolerance is at. So that would definitely take a conversation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you a little bit, and I'm not going to get deep into that, but
Okay.
I do want to talk a little bit about what is the difference between a regular IRA and a Roth IRA when it
That's
comes
a good question.
when it comes to investing. From what I understand, and like I tell people, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
an accountant. I understand it's a little easier to invest with a Roth IRA. Is that correct? Or
Well, you mean investing as far as with real estate or just period?
period, pulling the money.
Okay. Either one of them are easy to invest in, an IRA, or the traditional IRA, or the Roth. And the only difference, well, there's a couple of differences, but the amount of money as an individual you can contribute to them is the same, about $5,500 a year. Only difference is one, you get taxed up front, and one, you get taxed at the end. Right. So again, it all depends on, and why it's important for individuals to have a true tax accountant, someone that understands tax strategies, and not to toot my horn, but that's what I do, right? And having that knowledge, because it all depends on, again, the individual's needs and what your goals are. So we're truly not the type of firm that does like a one-stop shop. If this works for Linda, it also going to work for, Rob. That's not true. You got to look at it, but the difference is how they tax in the beginning and or at the end. Mm-hmm. But they are contributions, that you want to make that does help, with different tax shelters and defer your taxes.
Okay. Well, we have to do another segment just on that. Look,
I agree. That is fine.
yeah, that can get really detailed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can see that can get detailed, but I'm really interested to know that, because we are always looking for, if we're investing in, whether it be real estate or whatever, we're
Mm-hmm.
investing, we don't want to just have all our money taxed to the hilt.
Ooh, no, that's no fun.
No, it's
We
like
work too hard, right?
trying to figure out some shelters, and
Yeah.
use again. So I'm gonna mark that down, because we have to visit that. Okay.
Yes, that sounds good. And I'm more than glad to come back. I would love to have that discussion with you.
Okay. Awesome. The next question I wanted to ask: what are some ways to shelter incomes that are not overly taxed? Well, we said we'll come back to visit that next time, but just can you give us a little teaser?
Yes, well, because I understand about coming back, like from the IRA and the Roth, and exactly what they do specifically, but there are some other, those are two, very good tax shelters, but they're just all kind of deductions that we have now that qualify. Honestly, one of the good tax shelters that you don't see written too often is having your own business. Again, I'm gonna say a lot about the importance of entrepreneurship for me, and how it changes lives and how it opens up so much, so many opportunities for you. So, but even having a business, being sole proprietor or an LLC, sole member LLC, gives you a lot of tax breaks that a lot of people don't know about, and deductions. Retirement accounts, like we talked about, the IRAs and the Roths are good ones. And even also owning homes, right? Owning your own home is a huge deduction. Now, it also depends on your filing status as far as how much of that you can write off. But sooner or later, your home, your main home, could be a very good tax shelter for you.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. And I really like the idea that you mentioned about starting your own business. To be honest, though, sometimes we just don't know where to begin. People don't
Mhm.
know where to begin, and that's what I found, because you and I, we're on parallel, planes when it comes to helping people all the time. We were growing up, there were 12 in our family. My mom and dad, they were just trying to feed us,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
So some of the things we kind of missed along the way,
Mhm.
But two things. One thing we did get for sure from my dad, he was an entrepreneur at heart. He
Oh,
was
I know.
always, yeah, in addition to working at the mill,
Mhm.
he was always starting a little business here and there, and we'd say, Dad, what are you doing? He'd order things, resell them. He was at the big downtown where they'd have the garage sale.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
he was
I
set up
think it's at
booths.
the ethnic festival too, and all of that.
He would set up booths and things. And my mom, she's just like persistent, will not stop until something is done. But
Hmm.
some people don't have that. Really enjoy talking to you today. I mean, it's been really enlightening in a lot of ways. And I'm sure we'll revisit this subject and others in the
Yeah,
near future. And thank you
yeah.
so much. You've always been a huge community. I guess the word is responsive kind of person.
Because we met, so I think it takes one to know one, right? And that's what I love about every time I see you and your energy and what you and Ed stand for. So I knew that when you reached out, I wanted to be a part of whatever you were doing, because it's always positive. It's always to uplift someone else,
Right.
and I appreciate that. And we met actually at I think our firm sponsored your event for a community event that now we started going, continuing on with. So
Absolutely.
I totally agree with you, Mina, and continue to do what you're doing, Linda. I so admire you and respect you for your business savviness and the integrity that you walk in. So I appreciate you having me, and I look forward to doing more and more business
Oh,
together for
yeah,
sure.
I'm sure of it. I can just see so many ways in which we can connect. So, but thank you once again, Ms. Consuela Hopkins. Thank you for, visiting us and giving us, all this information. This has been very helpful to me. And I've been in business for 20 years. Look,
Mhm.
so I'm sure my audience will absolutely love it and find it useful. Okay.
Awesome,
All right.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
To serve full time. That's been all.